this just in? The win column. Our old friend Jeff Saturday won his first game as Colts interim head coach in his first start with a 25-20 win over the Raiders. Matt Ryan returned to the starting lineup, throwing for 222 yards and the game-winning touchdown pass in the fourth quarter. Colts, don't look now, they're 4-5-1. And I still expect Coach back here by the C block. Let's go. Come on, Jeff, there's a fine. Look, they have a murderer's row schedule coming up. They have Eagles, Steelers, at Cowboys, Vikings, Chargers, at Giants. If Jeff wins 2 more games, that's ahead of schedule. But let's wait and see. It's one in the bag so far. Was this an early game of the year candidate, or is it game of the decade? Okay, we pick up at the 2-minute warning. Kirk Cousins connected with Justin Jefferson. This 32-yard one-handed grab on 4th and 18 was the longest fourth down conversion by any team this season, longest by the Vikings since 2003. But look at that catch. But the Bills stalled the Vikings' late second drive at the 1, and Buffalo offense took over. Very next play, Josh Allen fumbled the snap. It's his second turnover of the game. Vikings recovered. Minnesota takes a 3-point lead. That's 30-27 to make up for the fumbled snap. Allen led the Bills' offense in a 5-play, 69-yard drive in 39 seconds to set up the game-tying field goal. Josh Allen finished the drive, a perfect 4 for 4 with 55 passing yards. Then they're going to win in overtime, right? Josh Allen finished 2 of 4 in extras for 14 yards, and then threw the game-sealing interception with 1:12 remaining. His second interception of the day on a pass thrown in the end zone. Mike T., how concerned are you about Josh Allen, whether it's his play, his health, or if one's affecting the other, both?
Very concerned. When you have 7 turnovers in the last 3 weeks, it's hard to be a championship quarterback on a team that has championship aspirations. And especially when you throw the ball in the end zone, you're taking interceptions in the end zone, you're taking points off the field, off the scoreboard, and obviously that was the difference in the game. So he didn't practice much last week with the elbow injury, and even the great ones need some practice. So these are real concerns. He is such a great competitor. He's bigger and stronger and faster than most people, but this has hurt him. His aggression when he could have checked the ball down or keep making plays with your feet. The first job in overtime is not to lose. You don't want a tie, but a tie is better than a loss. But when you force the ball in the end zone, that is hugely consequential.
Yeah, I was meant like say Mahomes is like Brett Favre, take away the interceptions. But Josh Allen's actually more like Favre that way. He thinks he can get done. And Key brought up this morning, Lewis, he double clutches, so now the defense knows what's going to happen. Where do the Bills rank among the AFC contenders for you right now?
Look, I still think they're right there in the top 3 if you're going to say Kansas City's 1. And then either Baltimore themselves are 2 and 3, and Miami right there is knocking on the door with those 2 saying, hey, look, maybe we're the second best team in the AFC right now. And that's what's going to be interesting. To me, it's going to be all about who is Kansas City's opponent going to be in the AFC title game, not if Kansas City's going to be there. And I think one of those 3, it will come out of, although it's, I don't want to disrespect Tennessee in any way, shape, or form because we know that is a team built for late November, early December, or all of December. But I do believe that the opponent will come out of Buffalo or Miami to oppose Kansas City in the AFC title game. But look, Josh has to be on it as far as those backed up situations when you're down in your own goal line. Coaches, we rep that kind of stuff all the time as players on Thursday and Friday football, situational football, backed up in your own end zone late in the game. How do we keep from turning the football over? How do we get out of this kind of situation? If we can't get out of it, how do we get the punt off safely so we don't have it blocked in our own end zone? Or when do we take the safety? And then moving down into the red area. Look, there's a reason why we track that statistic as vehemently and as consistently as we do. It's because we know how important it is. And for Josh to make, especially the error in overtime, the throw, the Patrick Peterson interception on the double post in cover 4, he's seen that coverage 100 times. He knows better than to try and fit it in there like that to Gabe Davis. But he did it anyway. He has to correct those. I think he can get that corrected.
Let me tell you guys something. Remember several weeks ago at this point, when Josh Allen outplayed Patrick Mahomes at Kansas City down the stretch by making all the plays, and then Mahomes didn't make the plays, and at that moment, Josh Allen was the MVP of the league if you handed out the award right then. Well, guess what? He is not in the conversation right now. Josh Allen has played himself out of the MVP conversation. He can play himself back in it. Like Lamar Jackson was in it, then he made some bad decisions in consecutive fourth quarters, and he played himself out, and now he might be playing himself in. But that's what Josh Allen has to do again. I know he cares about team success, but from where I'm sitting, this dude was the MVP of the league, best player in football. He is not that right now. You can't, in consecutive weeks, throw 2 red zone interceptions in each game and be in that conversation. Mike, you can't do it.
Yeah, that's well said. And look, he cost them dearly yesterday. And the irony is his aggression and aggressiveness were perfect at the beginning of that drive. And again, when you, as a quarterback, need to know that we can't lose this game, we are already in makeable field goal range. And again, check the ball down, make plays with your feet. But if it's not clearly there in the end zone, live to fight another down. And that could cost them home field advantage, let alone the MVP.
It's huge. Hey, Lewis, does this game convince you that the Vikings are actually, or if you want to talk Josh Allen, go ahead. I was going to ask you if you think the Vikings are Super Bowl contenders. I'm on the fence, but go ahead.
Look, I'll hit both real quickly. Look, I don't think this is an indictment on Josh Allen all of a sudden now to where fundamentally he's changed. Look, these guys are human beings. They go through ruts. Sometimes they get into situations where they don't make great decisions. They don't see it as clearly. He didn't practice all week long. Maybe he just misread something. Josh Allen can come out next week and throw for 400 yards, and we'd all be talking about, there he is, he's MVP again. So it happens. It's cool. Minnesota, on the other hand, to answer your question real quickly, they have mastered late game situations to this point. They have shown that they have the mental metal, the mental resolve to be able to really focus in and lock in on those situations, regardless of what has happened to maybe, up to 58 minutes up to that point. They will make plays. The defense plays smart. Kirk is making good decisions. And I'll tell you this, when you have guys who make catches like that, that is something that really transcends coaching. It ain't about the call you make. It's about the plays you make. That right there will make Kevin O'Connell look like a genius when you have that kind of playmaker.
Lewis.
And that's the thing that right now they're relying on, and that is sustainable.
Yeah, right. Like, are they Super Bowl contenders? They got number 18 and otherwise are pretty good. They're Super Bowl contenders. They got number 18. Woo. Best receiver in the NFL? Quick, one-word answer.
Yeah,
I think so at this moment. You have to say Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in the NFL. I want to see Jamar Chase when he gets healthy. Time now for What's the Word with our NFL insider, Jeremy Fowler. Jeremy, what's the word on Josh Allen after that shaky performance? Well, not all day yesterday, but when it counted.
Yeah, Max, the word is relief, at least on the injury front, because they believe that they got through the game unscathed on that elbow issue. Really, he did some light throwing late last week. They felt pretty good about where he was, and so they'll monitor the elbow, but no major concern right now. The bigger concern, as you guys alluded to, are those picks. Dating back to last year, he's averaging about 1 pick per game. That's 25 picks in his last 26 regular season games. They want home field advantage in a big way this year. They got to get it done. Cut down the turnovers.
What is the word on the Vikings? We were just talking about it as Super Bowl contenders.
So the word is questionable. Now, I know they're 8-1. They're sitting pretty in the playoff standings, but I was recently polling some execs around the league about who's a contender, who's a pretender. They're not overly sold on this team because they feel like Kirk Cousins is going to show his true colors eventually. They believe they've had an easy schedule leading up to that Buffalo game, playing a lot of backup quarterbacks, and the secondary, very old, a lot of 30-something players on that back end. Now, I revisited with some of those people after the Buffalo game. They said they might have to be believers now.
How about Cooper Kupp? What's the word after the injury yesterday?
Yeah, the word is concerning. Now, it's not concerning in the sense that they believe he's going to miss the next several months. Like, they're hopeful right now that this is not a catastrophic lower leg issue, but they're still awaiting some of the testing, and he could certainly miss this week against the Saints. In the short term, it is concerning. So they need Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson, and those guys to produce now in a big way.
That's all right. The Rams are cooked this year, let's be honest. That's Jeremy Fowler. If you think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are impressed with their 8-0 start, think again. Coming up, what the birds are saying about perfection. And, well, there's Jalen Hurts. This guy's an